Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com with another edition of Stoppage Time. This is our final Tuesday stoppage time as far as domestic leagues go, and then we will have a schedule next week. We'll cover not only the Europa League final but the Champions League final. But a big week in EPL with Champions League spots still up for grabs. 4 big games. We're going to talk about them, including tomorrow's Coppa Italia between Juventus and Atalanta. With me to cover them from Sports Memo, Pavlos, Laguretos, and from WagerTalk.com, Nick Borrman, and my favorite Irishman, Kevin Dolan. Let's bring him in. Kev, I'm going to go to you first, my friend. How are you doing? And a big week of soccer, so please tell me you have some plays loaded.
Yeah, we do, Carmine. All good, actually. We split last night in the Championship playoffs over in England, went 1-1 there. But we do have a fully loaded midweek card up for today. One game up for this evening over in the EPL, early afternoon with you guys, obviously, and a double pack up for tomorrow as well, which I really like. They're both up at WagerTalk right now, along with a free play. So, looking forward to talking some soccer and closing out this EPL season with a flourish.
All right, awesome. Nick Borrman, well, aside from soccer, which we're going to talk about extensively through this show, the French Open, I think, is just around the corner, is it not? And I know that you've been doing absolutely fantastic on the court as well, too. What do you have up for this week?
Yeah, the French Open is up, and we also have the PGA Championship, Kev's favorite sport, big major, golf major this week as well. So working on that and have a full pack up going for this week. Right now, I have a 2-pack going for today's soccer games, and I do have a 5% play loaded for Wednesday's card. Had a good weekend, one Friday, lost a little Saturday, one Sunday and Monday. So good little run right now, hoping to carry that over. And sad to see the domestic leagues end after this week, but of course, looking forward to the Euros in a few weeks start time and MLS action for the rest of the summer as well.
All right, good to hear. And if you guys watching, whether it's live now or later when the video is up, I'm going to have a promo code for a 7-day all access, which you might want to take advantage of with Nick Borrman and Kevin, because if they have big plays up, those are usually very good, and you'll get $40 off a 7-day all access. So you're going to get 7 days of plays for about the price of what 5% plays go. Pavlos, my man, how you doing? We had a chat going on the weekend where I showed you a bet I made in the Napoli game early Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning, where I figured there would be a red card and a penalty, and of course there was a red card and a penalty in that match. So I was using some of your mojo, my friend. How are you doing, and what do you have up?
Doing great in NBA plays, but soccer has been pretty brutal. So I took a couple of days off. Really, I mean, I had like 10, no, not 10. I had 5 plays for Sunday, and I was looking what could go wrong. I had the over in Montpellier. I didn't bet it. I didn't play it. I didn't propose it, and it was a nil draw. So something's wrong with my soccer plays. I'm not gonna lie, guys. But NBA is going great. I have a 2-pack for today for soccer, and a 2-pack, an NBA 2-pack for the play-in tournament. The EuroLeague Final Four is in about 10 days, so there's not going to be much soccer, but there's still MLS, there's still the Euros, there's still EuroLeague up, and European basketball also up. So it's going to be a pretty hot summer for me.
All right, awesome. And I will have a promo code up for Pavlos as well too at Sports Memo. It is a different code for his 7-day all access. All right, guys, we're going to jump right into it. While this game goes tomorrow, we're going to cover it first. This is the Burnley Liverpool game. Burnley plus 1,000, 10-1. The draw is plus 550. Liverpool minus 450, and the total is 3.5. That total is a little higher than you would normally see on a game with Burnley and Liverpool. But this is one of those games where I think Burnley are safe. Liverpool are they're in sort of a unique situation here, and in that they'll be watching today's game, Chelsea and Leicester, and we're going to talk about that soon. They're a point back of Leicester, a point back of Chelsea, 3 points back of Leicester for that final Champions League spot, with 2 games remaining, obviously these midweek games, and then on the weekend. So they're going to be looking for the right result. They pretty much do control their own fate, but at the same time, goal differential comes into it. And this is one of the reasons why I think the total is where it is, because if Liverpool not only win this game, they're going to need a few goals to overcome that goal deficit. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Total of 3.5, a lot higher than we would normally see. Thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Liverpool. I don't know, man. I disliked them all season, but they still they stayed alive with an impressive goal at the 95th minute when the goalkeeper scored a header. It was amazing. So they stayed alive. They stayed at the 5th spot. They kept their Champions League spot, Champions League chances alive. I'm not so sure if there's going to be a lot of goals in this match. Of course, Burnley, they are one of the teams that take things slowly, but since they've been saved, since they've avoided the relegation, they've been really careless. They play very openly. 5 of the last 6 matches, 6 of the last 7 matches have went over 2.5 goals, which goes to show that they're not so keen on playing defense. They opened up front. They scored multiple goals in a lot of those matches. So I'm not so sure if Liverpool will have an easy match tonight. So when I look at the odds, maybe Burnley with +2 goals, I think the odds are they're playable at -114. Burnley with +2 goals, maybe worst case scenario, Liverpool win by 2, and it's a push. As far as the totals go, if this match was played in the regular season, I'd probably go with the under, but and I might still go with the under here, but I think Burnley with +2 goals, because Liverpool, they just want to get the job done. They don't want a fancy match. They don't want to destroy anyone. They're just going to get the 3 points. Of course, it will all come down to what Chelsea and Leicester do tonight. But yeah, I think I'll make my decision after the Chelsea-Leicester match today. But I think that the under 3.5 goals, and I think for me it's a split between under 3.5 goals and Burnley with +2 goals.
Yeah, and it's a good point. And Nick, he does make a couple good points. You know, I had a big play on Liverpool on the weekend. The game went exactly as I thought. An open game with West Brom already relegated. Liverpool needing to not only win the game, but score some goals. Firmino had a chance to put them up and literally put it into not top corner of the net, but the crossbar. And this game eventually ended 2-1, as Pavlos mentioned, with a 95th minute saver by Alisson, a header. But 26 attempts on goal, 6 actual shots. If I had to play this game over, I would play it absolutely the same way I did with Liverpool laying a goal and a half. Unfortunately, while controlling every metric, it's the final score that counts, and it was a 2-1 result. I'm thinking some of the same thing today. On Wednesday. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think the value here is away from them. I mean, the line Burnley. Listen, from the middle of the season, this line is not 2 full goals. Kevin alluded to this last week about, you get to this end of the season and you got one team that has nothing to play for, one team that, it's a must-win type of a game. And, of course, the books adjust. The public looks at it like, hey, this team's going to blow them out just because what's the other team going to play for? But, Burnley's not going to roll over here. Why? They're going to come out and they don't have any pressure on them. They can play fun. They can, take some chances, which, yes, could burn them on the counter, but also could give them a couple opportunities they normally wouldn't otherwise have. So I think the value is on Burnley at +2. I was looking at it last night. It was -130. Pavlos just mentioned he sees it down to -114 or 115 at this point. You possibly wait a little bit later. I mean, if this thing could get to 2.25 goals, if so, I mean, for me, it's a must play. I'm already going to play this and put this on my card. I haven't yet because I just want to see if the number continues to move. But I'm going to put this on my card at Burnley +2 goals. I just think it's too much. I think the book's over-adjusted for this. Liverpool, same situation last week. Carm, you just talked about it, or not last week, but the weekend. They needed a 95th minute goal just to get past West Brom. And yes, they outplayed West Brom and probably could have won by more. But 2 goals is a lot. So to ask Liverpool to win by 3 to cover this, I agree with Pavlos. Maybe worst case here is a push at 2 full goals. Burnley has played Liverpool tough. Over their last 11 meetings, they've covered this number 8 times with 2 pushes and just 1 loss. And again, I know the situation at the end of the season doesn't mean much for them. At the same time, that puts all the pressure in the world on Liverpool, which is tough to play with. So I like the +2 number, and I'm going to wait a little bit, and maybe we'll get an extra quarter of a goal out of that, and I'll for sure back it at that point.
Yeah, no, and I see it. I haven't decided how to play this game. I think I'm kind of like Pavlos in the sense of I'm going to wait to see how today's game unfolds. Kev, I think Burnley, when they went to Anfield, I think that was at a time and they might where Liverpool were struggling not only to score in open play, but to even get a win at home, where it's an absolute fortress for them. This is a completely different game now. And you've talked about the fact that, Liverpool not scoring goals this year. They played above their XG, I think, in their title season, and they're just getting exposed now. Does that still stand with 2 weeks to go, or with 2 games to go?
Yeah, I mean, me personally for this game, I was just hoping the goal line would be a little lower because last week I was looking to circle this one as a definite over. I didn't expect it to come out as high as 3.5. I mean, when was the last time you've seen 3.5 in a Burnley game, just based off their reputation? So, but it's mainly just, the Clarets, they just haven't been their usual selves of late defensively. Pavlos touched on this, as the season's winding down, they just seem to have lost a bit of focus. 7 of the last 8 EPL games have now seen over 2.5 goals cash. They've kept just 1 clean sheet in their last 11 inside Turf Moor. That's really against the tide when you talk about Burnley. But, 3.5 is obviously a very high total. So instead of that, I'm going to take a look at Burnley here in the first half line at plus 0.75. Burnley have scored first in 3 of the last 5 at home, despite not winning any of those games. Well, 2/3 of all Liverpool's away goals this season have come after half-time. On top of that, in terms of all those 1/3 of goals that did come in the first half for Liverpool, just 8.3% of those came within the first 30 minutes. So Liverpool definitely are slow starters. They take a while to get going in games. And this could be a play-on system right here. The other point here is that Liverpool have registered back-to-back successive victories in recent games from losing positions after conceding first. And since Jurgen Klopp took over Liverpool back in 2015, no team in the EPL has registered more points from losing positions than Liverpool have. So that's another reason I like Burnley early in this one. I'll take Burnley here plus 3/4 of a goal in the first half line, with an opportunity to live bet this game as well. Because I do expect Liverpool to win this game. So if they fall behind here, you might get a possible bit of value there as well. So, yeah, Burnley first half for me, 0.75, with a look towards that in-play opportunity on Liverpool as well.
All right, it's a good point, and I love in-game betting, so I will be looking for those opportunities as well. So good point there for those watching and following along. Guys, before we head into the second game, which will be the Tottenham Aston Villa game, it is $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. It's a time where you can get the featured cappers play and one of the hottest cappers on each site for only $2. There are plays that normally go for $29 or $35 at WagerTalk and $30 at Sports Memo. The $2 capper at WagerTalk is none other than myself. I have a 5% play up in NHL tonight. And the playoffs off to a 6-2 start in the NHL, a 3-0 sweep last night. And that's on the heels of a very good end of April that 46% ROI in NHL. Over at Sports Memo, Jimmy Adams, he has a 5% play up in MLB. He's on a 20-1 run. That's correct, 20-1 in MLB, and he has a 5% play up for tonight. You can get that for only $2. So head over to Sports Memo to pick that up and WagerTalk for my NHL play. All right, guys. Second game, Tottenham, Aston Villa. Tottenham minus 200. The draw is plus 350. Aston Villa plus 500, and the total is at 3. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. There's a weird combination of results that could happen that could get Tottenham into a top 4 spot. Highly unlikely, but this is why we have to cover this game, because they still have a shot. They're sitting in 6th on 59 points, 5 points behind Chelsea. Obviously, they would need Liverpool to drop both their games, Chelsea to drop both of theirs, and Tottenham to win both of theirs, and they're into the top 4 and a Champions League final. A Champions League berth. That's not going to happen, is it, Nick? Give me your thoughts on this game.
The big news going into this game is Harry Kane saying he wants out. He wants to leave the Spurs next year, and he wants to stay in the Premier League. So Tottenham is definitely the way I want to play this game. But that just, it's such a weird situation. First, will he play? Will the manager, sit him? I doubt it. Tottenham needs to win, so he's got to play. But, it's just a weird morale thing in the clubhouse with the players. You got a guy next to you that doesn't want to be there anymore. It's just weird, and it's hard to trust, which sucks. I made 2 futures plays this year. One of them was Harry Kane to win the Golden Boot. So if this guy doesn't get anything out of these last 2 games, I'm going to be pissed on this one, but I digress. I have to want to lay the goal here with Tottenham, assuming Kane's in there. And again, the cloud here is the morale on the team, but they should be the side in this game. They played very well defensively. They played very well against the Wolves, who are a defensive team. They won 2-0 this past week, and they put up a total of 24 shots with 13 on goal, and were basically able to get anywhere they wanted on that field, which is not usual for a Wolves defensive side. So the Spurs looked really, really good in this last game this past week. And Villa, meanwhile, they lost 2-3 at Palace. But the thing that gets me in that game is they allowed 23 shots to Crystal Palace. All right, 23 shots. Think about that. The most Crystal Palace has this season. I didn't go back further. It's probably the most they've had in 3 seasons. Palace is not an offensive team. They don't get a lot of opportunity. To allow 23 shots just says a lot. Villa's got nothing to play for. They're mailing it. They're out there having fun. Okay, they're going to take some chances. They don't really care if they let some goals go in. And knowing that, I think the over is a decent play. It's a little higher, right at 3 right now, than I like to play it. So you could also pair the Spurs plus over 2.5 goals and get a small plus price. I did that at DraftKings. It was pulling plus 110 odds to take Tottenham and over 2.5. But ultimately, I think my favorite play is just probably Tottenham minus 1 goal. But I do like goals in this game as well. So I think either way is pretty safe to play it.
Yeah, Nick, I tend to agree with that. I like that Spurs to the result in total goals, Spurs in over 2.5 to win. It's still, and Kev, I'm going to go to you next on this one. It's still an important final 2 games for Tottenham, because right now they're in 6th spot, which is the last of the Europa League spots behind Liverpool. And right behind them, tied on points, but behind on goal differential is West Ham. And I think Spurs would rather play in the Europa League than the newly created Europa League Conference. Give me your thoughts on this game, Kev.
Yeah, definitely. It's just funny. Like you see it with these new manager changes. Jose Mourinho, tactical genius, that's what the media says. Won multiple trophies, obviously, across Europe. And, in comes this relatively unknown Ryan Mason, and he's given Tottenham their best start under a new manager in 14 years. So, fair play to him. I think a lot of that new approach has simply been letting Tottenham play, as simple as it sounds. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer style. Another manager left to pick up the pieces, obviously, after Mourinho left. Mourinho had these Tottenham players, they were backtracking, they were trying to protect leads. Larry shouting at Son because he's not defending enough. It was just crazy stuff. So, thankfully, we've seen Ryan Mason come in. He's cut the shackles off the Spurs team. And, they've looked good over recent games. As Nick said, Tottenham registered 24 shots in Sunday's win over Wolves, 13 on target. That's more than any game Jose Mourinho was in charge of Tottenham with. So, it shows you again the new attacking threat that this Tottenham team possesses under Ryan Mason. At the end of the day, though, I don't want to lay minus 200 in Tottenham here. I think the handicap line's right where it should be as well. Aston Villa have been better on the road than at home this season. They've allowed on average just 1 goal per game on the road all year. So it might take a while for Tottenham to break them down here. a parlay of Liverpool and Tottenham pays out at -115, the game that we talked about previously. That's probably honestly the way I'd look here. I do expect both teams to win, but by the same token, I'm not in any rush to start laying -400 in Liverpool or -200 in Tottenham and so on, or on the handicaps for either game either, which I do think are priced about right. So, in my opinion, if you like Tottenham this week, my advice is to throw them into a mini 2-team parlay, as the outright seem to be spot on for me in this game. So, yeah, we talked about the last game, this game. Liverpool, Tottenham, moneyline parlay, -115. That looks decent to me.
That looks very decent. A good one, a good recommendation there. Pavlos, Nick talked about his futures bet on Harry Kane, and I see it all the time in the last couple games of the season. They are just literally trying to get the ball to a guy who has a chance to win. I saw it in Italy. I think it was last season with Ciro Immobile. It's just try and get the guy as many goals as possible. The price on Kane 2 or more goals is +187. Any thoughts on that and thoughts on this game?
Yeah, he should be able to score. I mean, if Kane plays at his top level, which I don't think he does. He had some injuries this season. This wasn't a very healthy season for him. If he was healthy, he'd be up by, I don't know, maybe 5 goals more. He missed a lot of matches this season. So the way I look at this is Aston Villa, they have nothing to play for, and they play very, a free style of soccer. They're not careful at the defense at all. They've conceded 3 or more goals or 2 or more goals in a lot of their recent matches since they, mathematically couldn't challenge any of the top spots of the Europa Conference or Europa League spots. So they've been pretty careless. Of course, they were missing Grealish, who is by far their best player, for quite a while now. But he's back. He played 30 minutes in the last match, so maybe he'll get a full workload in this match. If he does play and if he does start, I don't think that Tottenham, even though they're very good, I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. However, when you look at Tottenham, they have 17 wins this season in all competitions at home. So they won by 2 or more goals in 15 of those matches, and they kept 13 clean sheets. So maybe this could be like a 2-0 match. So Tottenham -1 is the way to go. But maybe Aston Villa will score, and they've only failed to score on the road against Sheffield United and Manchester City. They scored 2 against Everton. They scored, they've only failed to score twice on the road. So this could be like a 2-0 win for Tottenham, a 2-1-0, or a 3-1. A 3-1. I'm just giving out some correct scores because I'm really baffled by this match. I'm sure that Tottenham, they want to win this, but I'm not sure that Aston Villa will roll over and die. I think they'll score here. So I'm stuck between Tottenham and over 2.5 goals at +106. Tottenham and both teams to score at +170. Tottenham -1 and both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -103. So I'm still baffled by this match, but I think I'll go with Tottenham -1 here.
All right. A lot of action. Pavlos is looking at a lot of action in this game, and hopefully we actually do see some goals. I'd love to see Nick hit that golden boot prop there. Guys, one quick promo for you guys before we head into the big game that goes today. 7-day all access package. You just listened to Pavlos talk about this game. You can get 7 days all access, all of Pavlos's plays across all sports, $30 off using code FINAL30. And then for myself, Nick Borrman, and Kevin Dolan over at WagerTalk.com, you can get a 7-day all access package, $40 off by using FINAL40. And as Nick stated, he does have a 5% play up tomorrow. So why not head over there and lock in that 7-day all access and get that play along with his other plays right through to next Monday. All right, guys. Chelsea, Leicester. Chelsea -143 at home. The draw is +275. Leicester City +400. The total, a Chelsea typical 2.25 goals, which is a split line of 2.5. Kev, I'm going to go to you first. These two teams, they're familiar with each other. They just played at Wembley Stadium in the FA Cup final, a final where it wasn't probably the best lineup by Thomas Tuchel out there, but it took a second half and a pretty damn good strike by Tielemans to get that 1-0 win for Leicester. Thoughts on this game?
I like the over here, and I know, like, shock horror, an over in a Chelsea game, but I know we've talked, almost to the point of, incessantly about how good Chelsea's defense has been since Thomas Tuchel chucked charge here, but Chelsea's home form hasn't been great at all. They've just got four wins from 9 under Thomas Tuchel at Stamford Bridge. So, with that, and I think just where both teams are right now, I think 2.25 definitely seems a little low to me in this, but we knew the under was the way to play the FA Cup final. I had some small money on the under there on Saturday. Leicester, obviously not having been on that stage for decades, both managers wanting their first piece of silverware. So you could understand that total. Both clubs not pushing the tempo in that one, but this is a completely different game, today, and a draw does nothing for Chelsea here, in my opinion, as if Liverpool beat Burnley on Wednesday, as they're expected to, Chelsea are suddenly out of that final Champions League place. So I think Leicester, by the same token, I think they'll find it hard to turn around here and refocus so quickly. That was such a huge emotional win for them. I mean, they were on the pitch for a good 30, 40 minutes after the game finished. Their owner came down off the stands at the weekend. So I don't expect them to be fully switched on for this game here. And I think Chelsea can obviously capitalise on that as well. I think Chelsea, though, they do need to push the tempo here. That's the priority for them, and try and break down Leicester here. But by doing that, Leicester will then have their own opportunities in the counter-attack. So it is a really interesting game. I think we see a much more attacking Chelsea side, probably than we're used to seeing since January. And I like this one to go over the total later today, especially at 2.25.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And Pavlos, I'm going to go to you next on this one. You look at these last couple of games that Chelsea have played. They dropped a 1-0 decision at home to Arsenal, and then they lose the FA Cup final. Tuchel, of course, with his eye on the Champions League final, has rotated the squad, and maybe not at the best of times. I do get it, but Mendy has not played in goal the last couple of games. Pulisic did not start in that FA Cup, and then when he was brought in, he was clearly the best player on the field in my eyes. He did more than anyone else on that blue side during the part of the game that he was not on the field. Thoughts on this game? Can they turn it around and get an important 3 points?
Actually, I couldn't agree more with what Kevin said, because there's a lot of reasons why. These two teams, that played each other twice this season already. So both matches were under the total. And in both matches, Chelsea had a disallowed goal. So I expect them to score. I don't expect them to finish the season scoreless against Leicester. That's one reason. The other reason is that Leicester, they've been great on the road. They've only lost to West Ham since early December. So, but there's going to be a lot of maybe some distraction, because Leicester, they won the cup, and some players had they partied a lot. So that's always a reason. Not always. That's sometimes a reason for players to be distracted. And Leicester are sitting at a spot where they are more comfortable than Chelsea right now, but they're not fully comfortable. So. I don't think that we'll see a third consecutive match with between the two sides with under 2.5 goals. Kevin made a great point about the over 2.25. I think it's going to be an over. However, I'm looking at the both teams to score. The odds are plus 100, and I don't think that this is going to be an over on either side with neither team scoring. I mean, I don't expect Chelsea to win by 3-0 or Leicester to win by 3-0. So I think we'll see goals from both sides, maybe a 1-2 or 2-1 correct scoreline. So I think I'll take both teams to score here.
All right, and Pavlos, 2-1, because I've got it written down, 2-1 for Chelsea is plus 850, so that's a good price there. Nick, final word on this game. Give me your thoughts, and do we see Chelsea and Tuchel go back to their regular side? Starting 11, the regular starting 11 that has played so well up until now, up until that Arsenal game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're getting pretty, 11 days away from the Champions League final. So now it's a matter of, all right, maybe we need to get some reps back together again. But listen, this show is fun because sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. And I love nothing more than disagreeing with these two knuckleheads. At least in the first half, I won't say I fully disagree, but at least in the first half, I think the loser of this game, I mean, obviously we've talked about already, is in such bad shape here because Liverpool, assuming they win, which they should, is going to leapfrog either one of these teams if they lose, and they'll leapfrog Chelsea if they don't win. I think it's going to be very defensive, at least in that first half. The team that's going to give up, listen, they've played twice recently, right? And both teams haven't been able to generate a lot of chances. They know that both teams can shut down the other one pretty well throughout a game. So once that first goal goes in, it's going to be tough to come back on. And I think both teams are going to be very careful not to make that first mistake. So I like the first half being very lackluster. I do tend to agree more that in the second half, especially with Chelsea needing basically to win this game, that perhaps they start to get a little bit, I don't know, take more chances, a little bit riskier, and maybe that pushes the total in the second half. But the first half, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be, do not give up that first mistake. And I actually like this 0-0 halftime correct score, which is plus 260. The total set at 1. So if you're going to bet under 1, you might as well just bet the 0-0 halftime score. So I think plus 260 is a decent chance to come through in that first half. Perhaps we see some goals in the second half, but I think the first half is going to be slow.
All right, there you have it. Nick Borrman, he has a 5% play up at WagerTalk.com for action tomorrow. You can pick it up for $35. Guys, we're going to head into the last game. We are switching countries here. We're going to Italy. It's the Coppa Italia final on Wednesday as I drink from my Juventus mug here. Atalanta and Juventus in the final. Atalanta favorites here, plus 145. The draw is plus 240. Juventus plus 187. And the total is 2.75, which is a split line of 2.5 and 3. A lot of stuff happening in Italy this past weekend where it looked like the top 4 spots could have been locked up, but Milan failing to win at home against Cagliari now are in a position where there's some Champions League spot is still available on Sunday. Juve will need Atalanta to beat Milan on the weekend or get a draw. So they'll be friendly foes tomorrow in this game. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you first on this one to give me your thoughts on this game.
I think we'll see a penalty kick. I'm gonna just go and What? My brain lagged. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's gonna be a penalty kick in this match, and there's a lot of reasons why I believe this is going to happen. There's been 4 penalty kicks in the last 4 matches between the two sides. When Juventus played Inter in their last match, Ronaldo took a penalty kick, he missed, and actually Juventus were awarded a couple of them. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that, as you said, Carmine, we don't know whether they're gonna push Juventus to win the cup. Are they gonna push them to finish in the top 4 and grab a Champions League ticket? I don't know what's going on. Italian soccer is not the cleanest of soccer, so I'm not gonna. I'm just putting it out there. So, Atalanta and Juventus are 2 of the teams that they've grabbed a lot of penalty kicks this season. I think it's 8 for Juventus and 7 for Atalanta. I'm not so sure if whoever takes the penalty is going to score it. So if you find any odds on missed penalty kick, just go ahead and bet those. But I found a plus 180 on a penalty kick to be awarded at DraftKings, and that's the way I'm going to play this.
Okay, penalty kicks. I don't blame, or penalty kick in the game. I don't blame you. Now, and Nick, I'm going to go to you on this one. While this is a home, Atalanta is designated as the home team. This is not a home game for them. The final is being played at Mapei Stadium, if I pronounce that correctly, which is Sassuolo's home grounds for this final. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously both teams' only chance at hardware this year, but more embarrassing for Juventus, the not winning hardware, is not making the Champions League next year. So I got to tip my hat off to you, Carm, for still showing your colors and drinking your Juve mug for a team that may not be making the Champions League next year. But that being said, this looks like a quid pro quo type of a situation here, right? Juventus probably picked up the phone last night, said, yo, Atalanta, how about we let you take this Coppa game and you go kick Milan's ass on Sunday and everybody wins, right? So I don't know. Carm, it's funny because we have these group chats, on the side, and Carm always mentions how corrupt Italy is, maybe more in Serie B than necessarily in A, but it is worth noting that there's a lot that could help either team here if they play their cards right, and who knows. If you believe in corruptness, I'll say this, then go with Atalanta here and go with Juve to get into the Champions League this weekend. If you believe in a fair, true fight both ways, then maybe look at the under in this one. Two full-strength teams. These two games, the two times they've played this year, both stayed under the total. And a lot of times when these big teams play each other, the totals are a little bit inflated and they do stay under. So I kind of lean a little bit towards the under, assuming both squads put out a full-strength team and they're actually trying to play it. But if you have any belief in corruption, maybe look at Atalanta in this game.
Yeah, and we joke about it, but I don't see it. I think it's going to be a well-played game, as will the Atalanta-Milan game on the weekend. I fully expect Gasperini, of the manager for Atalanta, to put his best 11 out there on the weekend for the integrity of the sport in itself. Juventus does have a trophy this year, Nick. They did beat Napoli in the Super Cup final 2-0.
Yes.
So they do have a little bit of hardware. So I don't mind them giving up this Coppa Italia on Wednesday in lieu of a victory on the weekend and a top 4 spot. Thoughts on this game, Kev, to close this out?
I mean, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Like, if you believe Italy's corrupt, go with Atalanta. And if you don't believe it's corrupt, still go with Atalanta because they're the better team. So I'm gonna take Atalanta to score in the first half in this one, actually, even money. Atalanta scored 8 of 10 cup matches this campaign. They're averaging 2 goals per game in this competition as well. They've averaged 3.4 goals per game across their last 5 Serie A games. So they're really a team, firing on all cylinders right now. And add on to this the fact that Atalanta have scored a first half opener in 9 of the last 10 games across all competitions as well. So I like that prop. I think Atalanta to score in the first half here tomorrow at even money is a decent bet.
All right, awesome. There you have it. 4 big games across the next 3 days. On Thursday's show at 10 a.m., we will be covering the final weekend of the PL season, and Serie A as well too, where there's obviously going to be very big games of importance, and we'll give you 4 guys' opinions on it. Remember, guys, it's $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, where you can get the feature cappers play for that day for only $2. These are plays that normally go for $29 and $35. Over at WagerTalk, it's yours truly. I have a 5% play up in tonight's NHL action. 6-2 start to the NHL playoffs for me, including a sweep last night, 3-0 sweep. So we'll try and keep that going with a play up tonight. And over at Sports Memo, Jimmy Adams, 5% play up in MLB. You can get that for only $2. The man is on an absolute heater, 20-1, his last 21 MLB plays. So head over there and get that for only $2. Thanks for watching, guys, and commenting. If you're hanging around, 11 o'clock, Andrew McInnes takes over the reins for for puck time. We have some big games in NHL tonight. We are going to cover all of them tonight. Don Buster, we're going to pipe him in from Mexico to get his viewpoints on the games as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on Thursday, 10 a.m.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.